We're 2/3 of the way through 2022, and I thought it might be a good time to reflect back on not only the predictions that I made initially way back in December for what would happen in 2022 to see how close I have been, but this also felt like a great time to take a look going forward throughout the rest of 2022 to see how those predictions have changed or haven't and exactly why. Hey there, Nick Deckard here, your local real estate expert here in Ocean City, New Jersey. And if this is your first time to the channel, welcome. Make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and turn on notifications if you want to stay in the loop as things are shifting here in the Ocean City market, because I come out with videos at least once a week specifically focused on Ocean City. So here we go. If you haven't watched that video for the 2022 predictions that I did back in December, there's a link down in the description as well as right here above. Feel free to check that out at the end so you can get a sense for exactly how things have shifted over the past 8 months. But back in that video, I mentioned there are 3 things that are going to drive the real estate market anytime, and that's going to be supply, demand, and interest rates. We've obviously had a change in interest rates. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that unless you've been living under a rock. They've gone up substantially from where we were at the end of 2021, all the way up and peaked at around 6%, but they have come back down and they're right around 5%. Now, there are differing schools of thought as to what's going to happen with interest rates going forward, but ultimately it's anybody's guess. Nobody knows for sure because we don't know what inflation is going to do over the coming months. We are in an election period that's coming up and things can fluctuate around that as well and mask what's really going on in our economy. But I anticipate that throughout the rest of the year, we should be hovering in the 5s. I don't think we're going to get back to 6. I don't think we're going to go above 6, but I also don't see the case for going below 5 unless there are definitive studies and a lot of information showing that inflation is reined in. But again, what the stats say and what people feel are 2 totally different things. So consumer confidence has been crushed over the past few months. It's going to take a while for that to rebound, even if things do level out. So interest rates are likely to stay where they are. But let's talk about demand. So demand, despite Ocean City being what it is and the main draw with nostalgia, family memories, you know the drill, demand has actually decreased, and that was kind of expected. I didn't think it was going to decrease exactly the amount that it did when I made the video back in December, but there's still consistent enough demand to keep inventory from rising too quickly. In my recent newsletter, I dove into that a little bit, and if you'd like to sign up for that, there's a link down in the description. Feel free to click that. Send out a weekly newsletter with an up-to-date take as well as some other helpful information, so make sure you check that out. But as far as the demand goes, right, demand has gone down. We've gone 6 weeks in a row with less than 10 properties going under contract each week, which was nearly unheard of in the months prior. And that's despite inventory creeping up, and we're up about 15% from where we were a few weeks ago. But I want to put that into perspective here. 15% increase in inventory from 200 is only 30 properties. That is not a lot when you consider all of the different pockets that we have here, from duplexes to single family to land. There's a lot going on there, and a 30 property increase really isn't that much considering our norm pre-COVID was well over 400. Now, back in that prediction video in December, I did say that I don't think we're going to reach 300. I think we'll stay under 300, and we're on track to stay within that realm. We have nearly peaked, in my opinion, at around 240 properties. May we see more in the fall? Absolutely. Do I think we're going to see an additional 20% increase to get us close to that 300? I just don't see it happening, right? People locked in their rates at 2.5 or 3 over the past few years. There's just not a real push for people to sell unless they have a need. And some people do. And that's why we have had inventory continually coming, but it's not enough and it's not growing fast enough to have any form of impact on prices aside from slowing them down. They're not going to decrease unless we do have a huge glom of inventory. And again, I just don't see that happening. So that covers our interest rates, supply, and demand. Now back in that video, I predicted that by the end of 2022, that we would be about 10% up price-wise from where we were ending 2021. And I look like I may be low on that one. Single family prices have gone up 22% from where they were in December. Condo prices are only up 4%. So it's kind of the tale of 2 different property types. I expect to see a similar trend continuing through 2022 with condos slowing down a little bit. And if you've seen my recent market updates, the graphs show it all. And again, there's a link here if you want to check out the most recent one. But I do expect single family homes to continue to increase and appreciate because there's just not that many of them. And condos and townhouses have slowed down enough to where I think they're flattening out. And I expect them to stay roughly where they are, only going up our normal, 1 to 3% over the next few years, barring anything crazy happening. So that covers prices. That covers a little bit of inventory. Again, I don't expect that we're going to see a lot by the end of the year. Normally, we start to peak in late August or in September in terms of our total available properties. And if we're almost there already at 240, again, there's a chance that we actually decrease throughout the fall as buyers continue to buy, right? And if there's confidence out there that mortgage rates are palatable and jumbo rates, mind you, at the recording of this video with Republic Bank are back down to 4%. And again, historically, that is an absolute steal. We have recency bias. It's hard to see the 2.25%, 2.5% that was available as little as 8 months ago and think, oh my gosh, it's egregious now. But a 4% interest rate over 30 years is a very, very appealing rate. So that is it in a nutshell. I expect inventory to roughly stay where it is by the time we end the year. I expect prices to continue to grow, and I expect demand to stay roughly flat, and it is much more suppressed than it is now. So if you're a buyer out there and you're listening to this, you're going to have some tough choices going forward. There are still enough buyers out there that a good property that's priced well, that's appealing, that's turnkey, is going to still go pretty quickly. There are going to be plenty of properties that continue to sit. And what tends to happen this time of year is you'll start to be able to see the real sellers from the ones who are really, really pushing the envelope. The real sellers are going to start to reduce their price. A lot of the properties that are, again, not turnkey, need some work, they're going to sit through the fall. So those are the ones that you really have an opportunity if you're willing to take on a slight project where you can really get a good value. There's plenty of time in the off season to have the work done so that it's ready for you for next year. So keep your eyes peeled for that category of property, and hopefully you're able to find a good one that fits your needs. So that's it in a nutshell. I appreciate you spending some time with me. If you have any questions, as always, drop them right down in the comments, or you can reach out to me directly. All my contact information is in the description as well. I'll see you on the next video.